If you're a football fan, you've probably had that moment where someone pulls off a move so mind-blowing, you spill your drink and question if physics even exist anymore. Whether it's a ridiculous dribble, a killer pass, or one of those goals that makes you forget how to breathe for a second, these players remind us why we can't get enough of this beautiful game. Football isn't just an average sport, it's a global obsession, and over the years, it has given us some absolute legends. These players redefine the game, making us all feel like we were witnessing magic on a grassy rectangle. From goals that made us scream at our TVs and maybe wake up the neighbors, to moments of pure genius, we have experienced it all. This video is all about the top football players who made the sport what it is. Let's get into the legends who have probably ruined a few friendships over rival teams, but hey, totally worth it. At number 10, John Elway. He was the guy who made Denver Broncos fans feel like anything was possible as long as he was on the field. Drafted first overall in 1983, Elway quickly became known for two things: his rocket launcher of an arm and his ability to pull off wins when everyone else had already thrown in the towel. They didn't call him the comeback kid because he liked a challenge. They called him that because he was the challenge. Elway hit his peak in the late 80s, but it was the late 90s when he really put his stamp on NFL history. He dragged the Broncos to back-to-back Super Bowl wins in 98 and 99. Fun fact, he was raking in about $281,000 per game back then, so just pocket change. Even after hanging up the cleats, Elway couldn't stay away, sticking around as the Broncos' general manager, which naturally led to another Super Bowl win in 2016. Because if anyone is going to win rings around here, it's Elway. 2 Super Bowl titles, a Super Bowl MVP, and a permanent spot in the Hall of Fame. At number 9, Randy Moss. If you ever heard someone say, "You got mossed," and didn't know what that meant, congratulations, you've never played defense against Randy Moss. From the second he hit the NFL in 1998 with the Minnesota Vikings, Moss made catching footballs look like plucking apples from a tree. The guy was a walking highlight reel who made the defenders look like extras in his own personal movie. With the New England Patriots in 2007, Moss took it up another notch and broke the record for the most touchdown receptions in a season at 23. He was practically printing money that year as he earned over $3 million, which broke down to about $187,500 for every game he made opposing defenses cry. Sure, Moss bounced around to teams like the Raiders and 49ers, but wherever he went, defenders knew they were in for a long day. Whether you loved him or hated him, there is no denying that Moss is one of the best to ever do it, and his Hall of Fame jacket proves it. At number 8, Dan Marino. He's the dude with a cannon for an arm and, unfortunately, has a Super Bowl ring that's still lost in the mail. Drafted by the Miami Dolphins in 1983, Marino came in like a wrecking ball. He set the NFL on fire with his pinpoint accuracy and lightning-quick release. His 1984 season was unreal. He threw for over 5,000 yards and 48 touchdowns like it was a walk in the park. Back then, those numbers were about as common as a unicorn riding a hoverboard. Even though Marino never got to raise the Lombardi Trophy, he is still one of the most beloved quarterbacks in NFL history. I mean, the man revolutionized the passing game. At the height of his career, Marino was pulling in about $6 million a season, roughly $375,000 per game. He retired with 9 Pro Bowl appearances, an MVP award, and a spot in the Hall of Fame, even if his jewelry collection is missing that one shiny piece of hardware. At number 7, Joe Montana. If you ever wondered what cool under pressure looks like, just Google Joe Montana. The man was so calm in high-stakes moments that you could think he was sipping iced tea during Super Bowls. Drafted by the 49ers in 1979, Montana wasted no time in leading San Francisco to 4 Super Bowl wins in the 80s. And that famous drive in 89, capped by the catch. That is the kind of thing that makes grown men weep and defenses crumble into existential crisis. They didn't call him Joe Cool for nothing. This guy could be down by 10 points with 2 minutes left, and fans would still be like, yeah, we're good. At his peak, Montana was cashing $4 million a season and made about $250,000 every time he stepped on the field to ruin some defensive coordinator's day. At number 6, Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders didn't run. He disappeared. One minute, he would be surrounded by defenders. The next, he would materialize 40 yards downfield. Drafted by the Detroit Lions in 1989, Sanders was a human joystick. dodging and weaving through defenses like they were mannequins in a store window. What made Sanders even more special is that the guy had no ego. Score a touchdown, just hand the ball to the referee and jog back to the sideline. No wild celebrations, no drama, just business as usual. Fans loved him for it. He was making around $6.5 million a season, which breaks down to $406,250 for every game he turned defensive players into gift-worthy moments. And then, in 1999, Sanders decided to peace out at his peak. Could he have shattered every rushing record in the book? Probably. But hey, Barry did things his way, and with 10 Pro Bowl selections and a Hall of Fame jacket, he didn't need to prove anything else. At number 5, Walter Payton. Walter Payton, aka Sweetness, was the kind of player who could make defenders cry into their helmets. Playing his entire career for the Chicago Bears, Payton set records for rushing yards while basically being unstoppable. Fans adored him for his toughness. The man practically lived on the field. He rarely missed a game, no matter how many hits he took. In 1983, he became the highest-paid player in the NFL at $2 million a season, or $125,000 per game. Though Payton passed away in 1999, his legacy lives on. The Walter Payton Man of the Year award is given to NFL players who are not only great on the field, but also do good in the world, kind of like Payton himself, just with fewer stiff arms. At number 4, Patrick Mahomes. Drafted by Kansas City in 2017, he took over as quarterback in 2018 and immediately started making defenders look like they were chasing their own shadows. No-look passes? Check. Throwing bombs while sprinting sideways? Check. Breaking defenses and fans' brains alike? Check. Mahomes is also clutch when it matters. In 2020, he led the Chiefs to their first Super Bowl win in 50 years, picking up a Super Bowl MVP to go along with his regular season MVP. And with that ridiculous 10-year, $503 million contract, Mahomes made around $2.8 million per game. You know, just casual pocket change. Despite his crazy skills and piles of cash, fans love him for being humble and still acting like a normal dude. You know, a normal dude who makes no-look throws at 40 yards. At number 3, Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning didn't just play quarterback. He turned it into a science experiment. Drafted by the Indianapolis Colts in 1998, he had the kind of football brain that could probably outthink a supercomputer. He would walk up to the line of scrimmage, shout out a bunch of words no one understood, and then proceed to pick apart a defense like he had the cheat codes. Manning led the Colts to 2 Super Bowl appearances and won his first in 2007. Then, because one ring wasn't enough, he grabbed another with the Denver Broncos in 2016. At his peak, he was earning $18 million a year, or a cool $1.125 million per game. Definitely enough to cover the cost of those high-level brain functions. Even after retiring, Manning's still a fan favorite. With 5 MVPs and 14 Pro Bowls, he definitely has his place in football history secured. At number 2, Jerry Rice. If football had a Mount Rushmore, Jerry Rice's face would be right there, chiseling his own likeness. Widely considered the best wide receiver ever, Rice didn't just catch passes, he caught careers. Drafted by the 49ers, he was an absolute machine for 20 seasons, most famously turning Joe Montana's and Steve Young's throws into pure gold in the late 80s and 90s. 3 Super Bowl wins were just another Tuesday for Jerry. Fans didn't just love him for his ridiculous stats, which include most career receiving yards and touchdowns. They admired how Rice treated every day like it was game day. In the 90s, Rice made around $4 million per season, which breaks down to $250,000 a game. And at number 1, Tom Brady. The man, the myth, and the avocado ice cream connoisseur. Drafted in the 6th round in 2000 by the Patriots, Brady wasn't supposed to be this guy. He was supposed to carry a clipboard and keep the bench warm. Then, Drew Bledsoe got hurt. And suddenly, Brady was out there stealing souls and Super Bowl rings. In 2001, he took over as quarterback and led the Patriots to their first Super Bowl win. And, well, he never really stopped. With 7 Super Bowl titles and 5 Super Bowl MVPs, Brady has basically got enough hardware to open his own jewelry store. His ability to stay calm in pressure-filled situations is legendary. Need a game-winning drive in the last 2 minutes? Tom's gotcha. Need a player who doesn't seem to age despite defying all logic? Tom is your guy. At his peak, playing for the Buccaneers, Brady was making $25 million a season, about $1.56 million per game. And somehow, even in his 40s, the guy is still out there tossing touchdown passes. Like Father Time is just a concept he laughs at over his kale smoothie. Love him or hate him, Brady's accomplishments are terrific, and his career has stretched so long that he has been ruining your favorite team's Super Bowl hopes for 2 decades now. Fans appreciate his dedication, discipline, and the fact that he's still balling while people his age are thinking about their 401ks. Is he the GOAT? Yeah, that seems about right. And there you have it, the legends who didn't just play football, but reshaped it. Whether they broke records, won rings, or just made us question reality with their talent, their legacies will be talked about for generations. Football may evolve, but these names, they are forever.